Hello, wine warriors. It is I, your penultimate host, Scott. Not trying to sell you anything. Not yet, anyway. Stand by for that. Just letting you know that this week's episode on red Burgundy proved to be a lot of information, so we're breaking the episode out into 2 parts. Part 1, we'll talk about Burgundy in general. We have a few wines that we drink and review. Our first from Beaujolais, then a regional Burgundy, then a village-level Burgundy. Then on Part 2, we continue drinking with a Premier CRU Burgundy, which was really special. Then we talk about the Grand Cru level designation in Burgundy and tell a story about a Grand Cru producer named Romanee-Conti, who back in 2010 had a really unthinkable act occur to their vineyard site. So stick around for that story. Anywho, I'll jump in at the end of this episode to give an outro, and I hope you enjoy listening to this even half as much as we enjoyed drinking it. Cheers. This week's episode of Wine Wars is sponsored by Audible. Go to audibletrial.com/Wine Wars for a free audiobook and 30-day free trial of Audible. Whether you want to listen to a book about wine, a book about Star Wars, or some third thing, I don't know what that would be, Audible will have you covered with over 180,000 titles to choose from. Again, that's audibletrial.com/Wine Wars.
And Spectator here, wanting to let you know that this week's episode of Wine Wars is sponsored by Winc. I am currently enjoying a bottle of Viognier from Winc, and you too can enjoy a bottle of Winc wine. You go to trywinc.com/Wine Wars. That's TRYWINC.com/Wine Wars. And that's how you get free shipping and $20 off of 4 bottles of custom selected wines. For me, I'm enjoying a Viognier, the Accoya. Right now, it's a crisp, high-acid wine, kind of tastes like lemons and apricot, and it's a true delight. And you can figure that out for yourself, kind of figure out what your palate asks for by going to Winc. For more information about Winc, listen to episode 55 of Wine Wars, where we discuss our experience getting our first shipment of Winc. Again, that's trywinc.com/Wine Wars for $20 off of your first shipment of Winc wine. Cheers.
Previously on Wine Wars.
Do I have a different microphone than normal?
Nope, that's Anne's mic.
Seems so much less intrusive.
Mine seems more intrusive.
We didn't switch mics?
Nope.
Not at all.
I don't remember it being so bulbous. But, you know.
It's the same 2.5 years.
All right.
I haven't really been paying attention.
Wine Wars, the show with 4 friends who love 3 things: wine and Star Wars.
Welcome to Wine Wars. You're joining the 4 of us as we sniff, sip, and talk about wine live from our home in Madison, Wisconsin. I am your excellent host and spectator, and with me as always are Jason.
Hey there. I got to be first tonight. Whee!
There's a reason.
Oh.
And Amy.
What's up?
Hi. I like your t-shirt.
I like your t-shirt.
It's cute.
They match.
It's the same t-shirt.
It's like looking into a mirror, only not.
And birthday boy.
Whee! Scott's 17!
Hooray!
It's my day.
It's your day.
It's my
Finally
day.
Scott's
and
day, and he's taking it real serious.
I'm like the Goonies now. It's my time down here. Up there, it's your time, man. But down the rest of the year, it's your day. But today, it's my day.
Tell me this, young Scott.
Yeah.
How the hell old are you?
I will be 34 this year. Sorry.
It does, though.
Sorry.
It does make me happy that millennials are getting older.
Yeah.
Why?
When are you going to pull your shit together, man?
Yeah. As soon as you stop helicopter parenting all the kids, Gen X.
Not guilty. Unless you count Theo. He's been a little helicoptered.
You were shouting from outside the window. Shit, Theo, get out of there!
It's going to be near the poison ivy.
Which we don't know exists. Mm-hmm. It's a theory in her head.
It's a thing that I can stress about that I made up. Mm-hmm. And that's important to me.
She
who you are
really
right
does.
now.
She does take a lot of pride in the things that she can stress about.
Imaginary stressors. Yeah. It's a big thing.
How are things, Scott?
I'm good. Getting a little older, peeing a little bit more when I don't want to. It just happens.
Sometimes you laugh and a little pee comes out.
Just wear black pants all the time. It's fine.
You do. He does. Not pee all the time. He wears the black pants all the time.
Mm-hmm. It's a safety precaution. No, I'm good.
Dribbles.
I'm fine with being 34. How's...
No, we're not talking about it. It's fine.
Did I tell the story about my tooth?
What?
Oh, yeah, I think you're falling apart and decrepit, right?
Yeah, so I turned 40, and then like the very next day I was just chewing gum, and then all of a sudden part of my tooth was there in the gum. Oh!
Not
Why
cool.
is this happening?
Which tooth?
Well, they think it was like part of they've put a filling. It was not a filling, but it was like they put a back basically on the back of my tooth that was next to a
Like a cap?
They
After they pulled his wisdom teeth.
pulled a wisdom tooth and like
It was all sharp.
yeah, so they tried to put a thing on it, and I think that's what popped off. But I still think that there's a crack in the tooth. But anyway, you turn 40, shit just starts falling out of your face.
That's what everybody tells me.
For me, it has a lot to do with hair growth.
Oh, yeah.
That's all I'm going to say about that.
Please
It all just
don't
comes out of-
continue.
It all just comes out of places you don't want that.
It's just on the daily with the eyebrows. I don't know
Oh, really?
where that's coming from, but a lot of eyebrow action.
You're going to look like Brooke Shields pretty soon.
Yeah, well, that would be great. I would welcome that. That sounds super. It's not really coming in like that. It's more old man, 70s, wiry, or they're more like straight, very like, I'm here now.
Like Wilford Brimley?
They're very aggressive. Yeah.
We're all gonna look
they're
like-
more Grimly, less Shields.
We're all going to look like Abe Vigoda.
Yes.
Did you know in The Godfather that was Abe Vigoda's first film?
I did know that.
I've probably told you that fact
Yep,
before.
that's a Scott Kennedy fun fact.
He auditioned in an open casting. That was his first film.
And then his second film was Look Who's Talking.
Really?
No.
Was he in that?
He's the grandfather in Look Who's
Who
Talking.
knows that information?
Jason.
That's even weirder. So here at the Wine Wars podcast, when it's your birthday, you get to splurge. People know this because we keep having birthdays, but it's like Jason and Scott all right in a row.
All in a row.
Yep.
And then
Not
most
our
of the time
fault.
we just
So-
skip Amy. Sorry.
So the month of June is generally pretty good drinking around these parts.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Splurge, splurge, splurge. Time to splurge again.
Time to splurge.
So tell us what you chose and why.
So my choice, I initially was going to choose Montepulciano d'Abruzzo because that was kind of the wine that really got me into the wine world. But it's not splurgy enough. You can't really... Montepulciano is very reasonably priced.
Yeah, it's affordable Italian wine.
15, 20, maybe $30 tops.
So if you're going to splurge,
You got to splurge. So I chose red Burgundy. Last year, around my birthday, we were lucky enough to have Stephen David, who is an importer for Louis Latour, took us through a tour of white Burgundy from the Louis Latour profile. Unfortunately, we couldn't coordinate that this year. So I decided to jump in and say, let's do red Burgundy. And I have been cramming for the last 2 days.
Oh, it's been crazy. Like, he's just like a ghost reading his books in the house. He's so quiet.
the problem with Burgundy in general, but red Burgundy is it is like the most complex wine region on the planet. It's
crazy.
the most respected, probably one of the most
definitely.
respected wine regions
Top
on the
2 or
planet.
3, for sure.
But like it's a wine degree all unto itself, basically.
And that's kind of why we've, at least from my perspective, put it off for 2.5 years since we've been doing this, because it is such a complex place.
It's intimidating just looking at the notes that you boiled down from all of the knowledge that there is.
Yeah. So maybe let's try a quick high level overview of Burgundy, and then we'll start drinking, because that's really why we're here. Because for me, Anne, and who I am, I want to drink.
Sure.
Because
Okay.
these
I want to
wines,
drink fine wine.
exactly. So Burgundy, as a wine region, as Jason said, is very. It's kind of unique. When we talk about vineyards, we typically think, oh, that's so. If I bought a vineyard, that'd be my vineyard, right? In Burgundy, the vineyards were originally laid out by the monks. They laid it out based on the terroir. Nowhere in France is terroir more important than in Burgundy.
So you're going way back.
This is in the way
This
back.
is the high level.
They've been growing wine for 2,000 years.
Ooh, tell us how they found it.
It was in the forest.
And then they were like, this looks good.
Well, yeah. So the region, the monks that were there, they actually found Pinot Noir is what we're talking. So red Burgundy, Pinot Noir. It's the only grape allowed in red Burgundy. Thanks to who, Amy?
Philip the Bold. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was pretty bold. He banned Gamay from the area.
Right. So from the region of Burgundy, you would have growing wild Pinot Noir and Gamay. But Gamay was considered a lesser of the two grapes. So it was banned from Burgundy except for Beaujolais. And Beaujolais was kind of considered the lesser of the regions in Burgundy. So like, oh, here you go, the stepchild, redheaded stepchild no one cares about. We're going to give you Gamay. Have fun with that.
Which is the furthest south in Burgundy.
So it's the warmest region.
Warmest. Yeah.
Yep. And the soil there is made up of decomposed granite.
Oh,
well, yeah, dirt. There's dirt. So it's actually kind of different soil as well. So kind of getting back to the topic of why Burgundy is so confusing is because of things like that. So you have Pinot Noir in all the other regions. So starting from the furthest north is actually Chablis, which doesn't do any red wine. It's solely Chardonnay, the white Burgundy, which if you want to learn about that, go back to that episode with Stephen David, our walk through Louis Latour, which was a phenomenal tasting. Then you have the Côte d'Or, D''OR, which is actually two regions, Côte de Nuit.
And Côte de Beaune.
Côte de Beaune and Côte Nuit. Côte Nuit is the further north, then Côte de Beaune, then you have Côte Chalonnais, then you have the Macon, and then you get into Beaujolais.
Scott did that without looking at his notes.
Mm-hmm.
He really crammed a lot
He studied
this week.
Pinot Noir, for the most part, is in the more northern regions. Pinot Noir is a very finicky grape.
Isn't it thin-skinned and susceptible to rot? Yeah, it is.
It is, yes. It's a super thin-skinned grape that is very hard to manage and grow. And so it's especially in Burgundy is the perfect place to grow Pinot Noir. Mm-hmm. And the other great place to grow Pinot Noir would be Oregon.
Yes.
Oregon and New Zealand.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the main reason for that...
Russian
River Valley, California. Well, California is totally different. I think Pinot from California is so different from those other three regions. And the main reason is that you need that longer growing season for the Pinot Noir to ripen slowly. Mm. Otherwise, you get that. And I do like Russian River Valley Pinots, but it's a totally different flavor profile that you get from these others that are much more. And you get the minerality from the region
soil.
Of Burgundy in particular. And then it's just more earthy that you get from Oregon and Burgundy. California is more of that jammy-ish profile, but they are good though. So anywho, so going back to why Burgundy can be so confusing, you have all these subregions, you have all this level of designation, and even just the term vineyard means a different thing here. So going back to the original point. The vineyard designations in Burgundy were laid out by the monks based on the terroir. So one vineyard may have multiple owners. Normally when you think like a California vineyard, if they own a vineyard, we own this vineyard and it's this plot of land, it's on the map. In Burgundy, the vineyard is laid out by the terroir. So for example, Clos de Vougeot is a vineyard that's 125 acres and it's owned by 80 people. So you can own, depending on, because of we'll get through all this when we go through all these wines, but you may own just one row of vines in a vineyard.
And that went all the way back to Napoleon.
Because of, yeah.
Inheritance laws?
Yeah, it was an inheritance law thing. So if there was two brothers,
then you have to split it.
Then it's split.
Then they have two brothers.
Then they have two, and they have
two brothers.
And so on. And so on. And so forth.
And then it's like, I get this 3-foot section of grapes on this one row in this vineyard.
Right.
And I'm never letting go.
No, absolutely not. It's worth thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars.
I got 9 grapes.
Yeah.
But like, how do you make money? And maybe we have to wait to get into that. But like, how would you even make money?
So that is a kind of a unique design in Burgundy where, so if I own one row of vines in this vineyard, in this coveted vineyard, I don't necessarily have enough to really produce a wine on my own, right? So you have, it brought rise of what was called the négociants. someone would purchase grapes from all of these vineyard owners, and then they would produce wines and then put it out under their own label. But then over time, people were able to buy vineyards from. So if you wanted to sell your one row, I would buy that from you.
Yeah.
Right? And then, and you live, a block down, I'll buy one from you. And then slowly they just purchase. And now finally, I actually own this whole vineyard and I produce the wines from there. That's pretty rare, a situation that occurs. And when that does, it's called a monopole, monopole. So I actually own the vineyard and I produce the wine from there. And the vineyard is designated by what the monks laid down many, many years ago. So it's totally different from how we think of things here in the U.S. of, I'm going to buy this plot of land. That's a vineyard. That's not how it is here. A vineyard is designated based on the terroir, and 80 people could own parts of the vineyard. So, as you say, incredibly overwhelming the amount of information that can be here. So I'm going to try to disseminate it amongst all of our drinking.
As we drink it.
Borders for these vineyards were determined by the monks centuries ago, and they don't change, correct?
No. They can, but you have to essentially have the whole region vote on it.
Yeah.
And
I don't see that
AOC
happening.
would have to prove it. It can, but it's fairly rare.
Rare.
So
Gotcha.
So that's that. So we're actually going to start in Beaujolais, southern Burgundy. So typically when someone says, I'm drinking a Burgundy, it's not going to be a Beaujolais. Beaujolais is quite often just referred to as Beaujolais. We did a whole episode on Beaujolais, which didn't thrill anyone at the time, to be frank about it. Mm-hmm. Beaujolais Nouveau is the most common wine that is exported from Beaujolais. Some 50% of the wines they produce are that Nouveau style, which are not meant to be aged. They're meant to be drunk extremely young.
Well, because they're like a village wine, right?
Not even.
Village is actually a higher designation than Nouveau. Nouveau is pressed, put in the bottle.
It's shipped off to the U.S. in
it.
2 weeks after it's done fermenting.
Right, but I mean, if it's not even a village wine, why are they bottling it? If I thought village was kind of a low end.
It's actually one above the low end.
Right? Oh, okay.
So we'll get into that once we get to the actual Pinot Noir.
I'm just so excited to get on it now. All right.
So the Beaujolais 100% Gamay, Gamay grape, which has become one of my new favorite grapes. So this wine is the Raisins Gaulois, Gaulois. I believe I said that correctly. Let me check my sheet again. Gaulois, Raisins Gaulois. Sorry, French people. This episode's going to be terrible. But this is produced by Marcel Lapierre. He's a winemaker who took over from his father in 1973, and is doing. You're going to see this quite often with all the wines from Burgundy, organic or biodynamic wine production style. So they are all about the pure representation of the terroir in a big way. It means the world to them to show these are my grapes from my plot of land, untouched. This is from the earth. This is exactly what it is. And I've really taken a shine to the Gamay. This was about $15, I think $15.99. Really nice wine. It's not a cru level, so in Beaujolais they do have cru designations, which are kind of the higher tier wines there. So this is entry level, but it's still very good quality. Just because it's not grown in the cru regions doesn't mean it's not going to be very good quality wine. So,
what do you think, Ann Spectator?
It's funny, when I tried it the very first time, it was the first sip I had tonight. I really liked it. But now it tastes like Beaujolais again.
I think it's definitely Beaujolais, but I think it's a nice refined version.
Mm-hmm.
Is Beaujolais just too young and bright of a flavor for your profile?
And this is 2015.
Tart and tight.
And that's kind of the
it's
style.
Like a little gymnast.
It's sour almost.
It's like tart cherry.
Tart.
It's bright. It's almost got a little effervescence to it. But there's something about it, and I haven't quite been able to describe it exactly right. It's almost slight leathery, but not quite there. It's something about it that I really dig.
Maybe like new leather.
Yeah, not old leather.
No.
New leather. That I really like. And, not terribly expensive, and it's a unique wine. You don't get anything like this anywhere else. So I really like it.
It's definitely growing on me. It's not like my first choice, but I think when you find a good version of a Beaujolais Gamay,
It's so
good
funny.
stuff.
When I first tried it, it tasted like I was like, oh, it's like earthy and French.
Well,
now it's just not.
You just had some chocolate,
Yeah.
so that might have screwed things up.
But I had it before the chocolate too, and I was back to like, nope. The first sip was great, and now it's so I just think it's empty. When it's done, it's gone.
Wild yeast is used to ferment this as well. You're going to see that quite often with the wines from Burgundy.
So does that mean that they're pretty varied with the results?
Can be. It's kind of a risk to use in wild yeast because you don't necessarily know if it's going to ferment to completion.
Why do they do that?
It's to show
more-
terroir.
Yeah.
It's
Oh.
the natural
The
production
yeast
of the
that
wine.
is growing out there anyway.
Yep. No filtration. Left on the lees for quite a while. So, they're really just showing, hey, here's the grapes. I put them in a barrel, and that's that. And here's the wine.
So
Natural
like
process.
ultra purist approach.
Exactly. Yep. For sure.
Which
Gotcha.
I can respect that.
Absolutely.
It's impressive. And if that wine was done in exactly that style, that's a pretty good wine for how quickly that's in your glass.
Right. And this one actually, so Amy and I went to, Andrea from Square Wine Company, turns out she's our neighbor. So she had a party over Memorial Day weekend, and we swang by, and it was a Magnum party. In order to entry into the party, you had to bring a Magnum of wine. So we brought a Muscadet, but someone had a Magnum of this. I think it was a different year, maybe a 13, 14, something like that. But I just loved it. And same thing with like the Moncher, the Gamay we had from Loire on the episode with the Landmark Creamery. Something about Gamay I dig, and I'm just going to have to look into it more.
Scott really likes Gamay. There's
That
nothing
was
else to it.
good.
Yes.
That Gamay was really good.
You can see there's hints of it in here.
Yeah.
But it's
This,
not-
Is this an old producer? Because this label looks like
New.
brand new.
Yeah.
It's very contemporary.
They've been around for a long time. This
Yeah.
winemaker took over in the 70s. But it is kind of a goofy,
Super goofy.
label.
It's a cartoon.
It looks like it could have been made for the American market.
Oh,
right?
yeah. That looks...
I would not expect this to be a high quality wine just based off this cartoon guy sucking grapes on
Yeah.
the label.
Yeah.
Which I think is charming.
Yes, it is charming. But doesn't it seem like
It does not seem
French?
Doesn't seem French.
No, it seems
For
like
sure.
a Midwestern.
I actually think it is kind
winery.
of French. And just be like, hey,
Yeah.
screw you. You don't know how good this is.
Yeah.
We
Maybe.
squeeze the grape in our mouth.
Yeah.
Which one were we drinking? This one?
That was
Yep.
This-
one we were just drinking. Yep.
I'm just going to have a little bit more.
Okay. And that's the gist of it. So Beaujolais is a totally different wine style from the rest of Burgundy. Check it out if you get the chance, and it might be for you, it might not. It's probably safer to go with an actual Burgundy than a Beaujolais if you want a crowd pleaser. Anywho, enough
Moving on.
about Beaujolais.
Moving
Let's
on.
move to the rest of Burgundy.
Bourgogne.
Yeah.
So Jay, you want to take the next level?
Sure. So the next level up, that's the one. Yep. And by the way, this is the first time we've ever decanted 4 wines.
Yeah, we pulled out.
We
all the
really
decanters.
we went for it.
It's my day.
It's Scott's day. You decant everything. And when we get to the last one, we did not decant it for as long as these young bitches.
We'll teaser.
Yeah.
Teaser for the last one.
Teaser.
In the year 2000.
I remember that skit the night that it aired.
So I'm not going to be able to get this one right, but the crazy things about, especially on French wine labels, so you'll see Bourgogne, Burgundy, synonymous. You'll usually see appellation Bourgogne Contrôlé. Surprising, it actually says Pinot Noir on this label.
Yeah, and you'll probably only see that on the regional level of wines. If it's something a village level or higher, they typically won't put Pinot Noir on there.
So this is not a village level wine. This is the producer is Michael Magnien. How do you think you say that?
Michel Magnien.
Oh,
Or Michel.
butchered again.
Michel.
Or
So,
Michel.
probably
Yeah,
Michel.
Domaine Michel Magnien.
Let me see it again. Magnien. That's what I'd say.
Yep. And you can find this. This was imported by Winebow, and And they have a fantastic website. So I would everybody recommend the winebowgroup.com. It's a small producer like this family. It's been around for a while, but this is in the Côte Nui region. So Côte d'Or,
Yeah.
and it's in the Côte Nui,
Which is the furthest north, other than Chablis, which is a completely different issue.
which is white.
Yep. So yeah, we jumped from the furthest south to the furthest north, and Côte Nui is quite often the region that's considered the best for Pinot Noir because it's the coldest. So you get the longer growing season.
So and anyway, it's a 2013. So
2013.
that's
a good amount of years.
We decanted it for a little while. It was a little bright when we opened it up. I think it's opened up nicely since it's been open.
I get like pine forest on the nose.
Stinky cheese.
You're getting stinky cheese?
Yeah.
Or you want to eat stinky cheese?
Stinky cheese. Like foot.
It's definitely earthy wine.
And you're going to find that with pretty much throughout all of Burgundy is the earthiness, mushrooms, compost, forest
floor. Yeah.
Which
Pine forest floor.
Oh yeah. Now that you say that, it totally jumped out.
Like just like a bed of pine needles. A carpet of pine needles.
So the regional designation, the Bourgogne. So spell that for us, Jay, if you would.
Bourgogne.
Right. So that's if you go into a wine shop and it says Bourgogne on the front like that, that means it's a regional designation. So it's not from a designated village or a Premier CRU or a Grand CRU. So it's grown in the AOC of Burgundy, but you can find very good quality wine under that designation. Right, because going back to Amy's point to begin with, it's fairly rare that the designations change. So if you're stuck outside of one of those regions, it takes you quite a while to prove, see, I'm doing really good work. Let me in to the club. So you can find very good wines like this. So how much was this?
This was $24, I think.
Okay. That's not bad. Yeah, Burgundy, you're going to start $20 pretty much minimum.
That's kind of the entry level of $19.99 is about baseline. And if you think about it, you're paying for a bottle, you're paying for a label, you're paying for an import. It sort of makes sense that it would kind of begin there.
And in Burgundy, they have laws that require you to have fairly minimal growth on the vine, so you can only harvest so much.
Limited production.
Right, so you get very concentrated flavors in the grapes.
Are they all doing those biodynamic, organic growing processes?
I would say at a minimum, you're going to see organic throughout the whole region.
Right.
Biodynamic is very popular, and we'll come back to that on a future episode.
I'm just wondering if like part of the labor intensity
Yes,
is part
that
of
is part of the cost.
reflected in the price.
Yep, hand harvested, because if you harvest with a machine, it can break a lot of the grapes too early. So they sort through it all. These grapes are touched by someone throughout the whole process to make sure that it's the best quality.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
The other nice thing is it's fairly low alcohol. It's 12.5% alcohol.
Yeah.
So they're not jam bombs. They're kind of nice food wines. Not going to overwhelm anything.
Right. Yeah. To your point, it can be very good. So we were talking about this on the New Zealand episode, and you brought this. Pinot Noir pairs very well with lots of different foods. So it's very food friendly. If you're going to a party, grab yourself a bottle of Pinot, grab a Burgundy.
But you have to pay a little more.
Pay a little more, but if someone else is at that party who knows wine, they're like, just wink from across
Just
the
a
room.
little wink, wink.
A little wink and a nod. So
I wonder what this would be like in 10 years, because it's wonderful on the nose, good in the face, sort of nothing on the finish.
really, I feel that it sticks around. I definitely get.
It's not rounded out the way it wants to be. There's more possible in this glass.
I think that this definitely could have probably sat, cellared for 2-3 years to see what happens to this.
Well, let's talk about aging this one, because before we were talking about a Gamay grape for the Beaujolais, and now we're on to Pinot Noir.
Yep.
I think it's the same It's the same structure and acid though, so it's probably around the same level of time that you should give it.
This has a lot more tannin to it, though. So I think, and again, it all depends on the producer.
Right.
Because you could get someone at the regional designation that does want just sell it to the, supermarkets and move it real quick. And it's meant to be drunk young. Something like this, though, I think is built to age a little, 10 years tops, probably, I would say.
Tops.
But
I'm just
it
saying
is
sometimes
still very tight.
Yeah. Like sometimes you run into that situation where a relative has been sitting on a bottle of wine for a really long time and
Like 45.
And you
What
got to
was the
help
one-
them.
is it-
You got to
you're
help
talking
them
about
drink that.
oh no, I'm not going to name names or what relative gave it to us, but when it's like a 28-year-old bottle of wine that should have been consumed like within a year and a half of getting it.
Yeah.
Like I just don't want to ever run into that problem. But if it was a Barolo, right? Totally
Yeah.
different
yeah.
Totally different.
conversation.
Right. Yeah.
We were talking about that. We have cases. I guess we just have a little bit of leftover California Pinot that we feel we're worried is too old. That
Yeah.
we didn't drink fast enough. It's not meant to age, but it is meant to be rounder and fuller and soft. This is very tannic for a Pinot.
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
that is a problem that we could help you with.
Yes,
Drinking those
we
wines?
can work on that.
Yeah.
We
I
need to be more
do
diligent.
like an audit of our cellar once in a while, which isn't that extensive.
The
but
wine
there
maniacs
are-
have said they would come help us with that,
that sounds really fun.
which sounds like a party more than anything.
I'm just like envisioning spreadsheets everywhere and like Google reminders on your phone. Like,
Alerts.
yeah, just like Google alerts saying you should drink this wine.
Like,
There
I
has
gotta
to-
this
leave this
week.
staff meeting. I gotta go.
There has to be an app for that. To like you're approaching
I think there
peak.
is.
Yeah. Like Cellar Tracker
Or
or
was
something
that
like
just
that.
an idea?
Could
We're
be
just so full of awesome ideas.
Stop giving away our $7 ideas,
I
guys.
know. There's somewhere out there. There's
But
an app
easiest
developer
thing in the world is how they tag them, like toe tag them, like dead people. Toe tag each bottle.
To say when to open by.
Yeah, you could do like red. Like a red tag means stop. Don't
Yeah.
drink this.
That is like my dream to organize at that level.
I think you'd be really good at that project
I would-
management.
Thank you.
Seems like something I
Task.
would enjoy doing.
You guys could totally anal retentive your way to.
To some good wine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just spent 2 weekends doing that to my closet. So fun.
What, you tagged your clothes?
No, but I have a system.
I do think that this wine would be a good wine to buy, a 6-pack of.
A 6-pack.
And then just kind of like test it, like
Yeah.
a bottle every 6 months or every year.
Every year, drink one.
Yeah, once a year. Yeah.
And like maybe write notes on the case.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. The tannins are just a little too strong on that. It dries you out.
Smells great though.
It was good with dinner, but yeah, the tannins on its. If you're now we're
Yeah, that's true.
drinking on its own, it's too much. With dinner, it was good.
Yeah, that's the bummer. It's like you can't eat like all night long, but you could drink wine all night long.
Yeah.
I try to eat all night long. Just doesn't last.
Yeah.
All right,
What's the next
we
one?
ready to move up? So the next level of designation in Burgundy, again sticking with Pinot Noir. So the regional that Jason just took us through, regional wines count for about 50% of all Pinot Noir production in Burgundy. Next level up is a village or village level wine, so, which is this one here.
Yes.
So Amy, you still
So
have
this is the example of the Village being one step up from.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this is the next level up. So this one is from Nuit as well, Côte Nuit. This is a Fixin, Fixin is the village here, which is the second most northern village in Côte Nuit. This again, you're going to see you'll probably see some what's the word I'm thinking of? It's going to look a little cloudy because again, this is not filtered. All about showing you the earth. All about showing the terroir. It's so damn important to the people of Burgundy to highlight the terroir of their wine.
Can I see the bottle on this sucker?
Yes,
Dude, this one, when we opened this up initially, this is a 2011. When we opened this up initially, it was very tannic and tight. And since it's been sitting here, this
2-3
is
hours.
really opened up nicely.
Band-Aid.
You get that a lot with your Burgundies, don't you?
Do I?
Yeah.
Get Band-Aid on Burgundies?
Yeah.
Is that a pattern? I didn't notice that.
I've noticed you quite often bring that up.
Definitely, I'm getting the Band-Aid.
So this is Domaine Collotte, Collotte. Le Crais de Chene is the name on this wine. And again, this is from Fixin, from Côte de Nuit. Again, this is all indigenous yeast, wild yeast, no filtration. Looking for what?
I'm just going to take your wine because I have the old one in my glass.
Well, I'll drink your old one so you can pour yourself a glass.
Oh, that's
So
a good deal.
Le Crais de Chene is the village?
No, Fixin.
Fixin is the village?
Fixin is the village. That's kind of their name of this wine, which
I
thrown
love
into
this. This one's a lot more pungent than the others. I think it's more fun.
Cuvée of the old vines.
It's super the most earthy of the ones we've had. Some, like there's and I thought the Bourgogne was pretty earthy, but this is like lots of
Yeah.
mushroom
Something
stank.
there I can't
I want
name that's
Morels
driving me
with
crazy.
this.
Yeah.
Okay, so
This is like
still very tannic too.
oh yeah this I think this is another one that probably 5 years from now would be a pretty smoking wine.
but I think that the finish is more what I'm looking for.
Lasts longer.
yeah.
I have a question about terroir.
Sure.
So in this area, since they are so hardcore about the flavor of the terroir coming out, are people in this area doing any of that stuff that sometimes you hear about, like incorporating ground up seashells or planting rose bushes?
That's
like
just the
doing
essence
stuff
of-
like that for flavor or
That gets a little more into the biodynamic realm.
okay.
But all of Burgundy is essentially, during the Jurassic period was underwater, and so it's all young seashells.
Gotcha.
Which is why all of the whites are so minerally.
Yeah.
But that also translates to all of the reds as well. It's just harder to, I think, discern a minerally aspect to a red. But yeah, that whole region is all. I think you guys read like
Limestone and
Well,
clay.
I kind
limestone.
of feel like maybe that limestone, that wet rock kind of mineral taste comes out with that earthiness, like subterranean undertones. Yum.
Yeah. And if I didn't say it, the winemaker here is Philippe Collotte. And actually his daughter recently went through a viticulture class, school, got her degree, Isabel, and now she's working with him as well. So she's going to,
Cool.
take
Take
over
it over.
in
Lady
10,
winemaker.
15 years.
More ladies.
There's something floral about it, and this is the best way I can describe it. It is not rose. I'm going through like all the
Lilac,
flower profiles. I was going to say maybe lavender,
lavender.
Yeah, it's
but
like
it's
a
not delicate.
it's like
flower.
an herby flower.
Yes.
Kind of clean and
Dandelion.
I don't want to say
fresh
medicinal,
lemon.
but not the perfumey
Right.
kind of flower, like a rose.
Yeah, like, I think that if you'd hand me this blind, I would have known it's not Italian in that it doesn't have any hint of rose.
Sure.
Which, at least for Northern Italian, I would associate it with it. But this is more like I'm picturing what I think the open fields of Eastern France look like of vines.
We saw them today. We went there on the internet.
Jet run over.
If you, Google Maps. I was just looking through. So for our last bottle, when we get there, I can tell you a little about it. But just type in Beaune, France, and they have 3D renderings of everything, and
It was so cool.
Cool.
Wow.
It's
Like
like
we saw the piles of the vine cuttings like out in the field, just like it's just fun to be able to just look around and the whole area is just nothing but vineyards. Like how the Midwest is like nothing but soybeans and cornfields.
Yep.
It's like that over there with grapes. Pretty awesome.
I get more like not in a good way, like strawberry Twizzlers on this than strawberry
Hold on.
Twizzlers meets Band-Aid.
stand by.
Oh, I like Band-Aid, and that is the first thing I get.
Theo agrees. Is that so it's the astringency that you're
It's,
talking like when you take a Band-Aid off, it's that stretchy.
It's when you open a box of Band-Aids when you were little. Like, it's toxic, fake smelling. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's astringent. Mm. But it's that plasticky inside a box all pops out at once.
And almost like a medicinal smell.
Maybe a little, yeah.
Like medical plastic manufactured.
Yeah, it's the same thing they
Petroleum.
say, like if you smell tennis ball, it's this like
Yeah.
toxic smell.
It's not a natural scent.
No.
Right?
I wonder if it's like a byproduct of petroleum.
Yeah.
And you
petroleum byproduct.
And like these vines, how deep are they going in this region?
Vines can go, I want to say 30 feet. I might be wrong on that. I'll Google real quick.
All right. So either way, like
Yeah.
in my lady brain, I'm just thinking that it's going down to the fossils,
20 feet.
pulling up petroleum flavors maybe that come through the grapes.
know.
I don't know.
That's interesting. I don't know where it comes from.
Yeah.
But it is a thing for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Vines can go 20 feet without restrictive layers of clay or stone or things like that. So 20 to 30 is not uncommon.
Doesn't this area have a lot of clay though?
Yeah, for sure.
So they got to really work it.
Yeah, and that's the thing about it's a metaphor. Great wine requires struggle. If you well irrigate the vines, if you give it the best sunshine,
Baby them.
they're not going to produce good grapes.
Yeah, they're just
gonna
too
be like,
fruity. They're just overly plump. It's just all sugar and
It tastes like
water.
fat Americans.
Yeah.
California wine.
And it's so
Like grape jelly, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you're going to get
Concord.
basically?
yeah, Concord, sure. So it's when you have regions like Burgundy and Champagne, and so our show last time, the Châteauneuf-du-Pape, which is all just stone, those vines have to go deep, 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 deep into the earth to get the nutrients and the water that they need to survive. And by putting them under that stress, you get grapes that are so unique and flavorful and just like it's a metaphor for like what makes a good person. You know, like
Or
you have
a good
if you have a rich
relationship.
yeah, if you have
Everything's
a real,
handed to you.
exactly, you're not
gonna
a
appreciate
rich kid
shit.
who just is handed everything. You have a yacht. You're like, oh, like no one wants to hang out with you.
You got to build character, and you got.
But if you worked hard for it, you're
Right.
like, I want to share this with all my friends
Right. Like,
and everybody have a good time.
you have someone who's struggled and gone through some shit like, oh, Henry Rollins. I want to hang with him. He's got good stories, right?
yeah,
A rich kid doesn't have good stories.
No.
Nope.
all paid
There's this
for.
one time where like I had to pump my own gas and like I spilled it on my shoe.
Ew.
And you know, that's the metaphor of what makes a good great wine as well. And
Yeah.
I am getting strawberry. Now that you said that.
Sorry.
At the very end of my sniff. There it is.
what is Theo getting?
Theo is hot
Yeah, I
because
think he's
it's
just
humid
dying
in
of-
Wisconsin. Oh. Oh, he says that the 2011's piss.
Of course he does.
He has a very refined
He's
palate.
very refined and he's very
Yeah.
dinky. So
I feel like he probably prefers microbrews to wine.
he definitely does. That is
like,
true.
Is this wine younger than I am? Pass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if that was an 02, maybe.
You know,
But that's
Theo's
a
a millennial.
2011.
I just
Boo.
realized it.
What's that?
Your dog is a millennial.
Boy, we can tell
Sorry,
that.
man.
14-year-olds are millennials?
I don't know.
Yes.
Ugh.
And that's it for part 1 of our episode on Red Burgundy. Thank you for listening. Please follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and you can contact us, winewarspodcast@gmail.com. And until next time, remember, it's just grape juice.
1, 2, 3, 4. Wine Wars.